Hey everybody, so my name is Kelvin Jenkins. Move this chair out of my way. I've been getting a lot of questions from folks lately around leadership and how do you get into it? What do you do? And a lot of my friends, a lot of colleagues, a lot of close relationships, and even some of the people that I've met at ATD recently in the past couple of years or so, they're always kind of like enamored with this idea of the word leader or leadership. And so I keep getting told you should go online and should do a podcast. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that yet. So my consolation prize for them and me is that I am gonna come on Fridays and start talking about some of the things that I'm working on, or I'm gonna talk about some of the things that I got ashy lips. I'm gonna talk about some of the things that folks keep asking me about, or that I'm hearing in conversation throughout the week, throughout the month. So if there are any themes or topics or areas that are in regards to you wanting to become a better leader or you wanting to go into a leadership role. Um, that'll be kind of the context of some of the things that I'll talk about on Fridays. On Wednesdays, I'll be talking about more of the corporate space, leadership development programs, operations, and opportunities. So, just to kind of give you a flavor, right? So, again, for those of you that are seeing me for the first time, this is me at home. This is a real wall. I'll tell you all about how that came about another day. Real company, real slogan, and real opportunity. So I'm going to kind of try some things out. This is the first kind of go at this, but you'll see me scribble things potentially. You'll see me talking, and we'll navigate through. So one of the biggest questions that I get asked a lot is, can I really do it? And I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with people about this. I don't know, this valley of decisions that they go through with, like, I want to go for the big promotion, or I want to go for this role, but I don't really know if I'm qualified. I don't know if I and it's amazing to me. I'll never forget, I was having a conversation last year at a coffee shop with a colleague of mine, and they had been given the role. So they had been working within their organization for over 5 years, really good at what they do. And, sometimes you'll get put inside these temporary roles where we'll want you to hold on to the role, keep the seat warm for us, do the function in the interim while we look for someone else. And so she and I were talking, and she was telling me, like, yeah, I took the role because, it's interim, I'm just kind of helping out. And in my mind, I was like, oh, okay, so you're going to take the role later on. And she's like, "Oh, well, actually, I'm just now kind of finishing doing it, and I don't even want the job because, I just don't think I'm qualified." And I had like this visceral moment of just, huh? What do you mean you're not qualified? You've been doing it for like 6 months. In her mind, though, there were all these limiting beliefs about, oh, I don't really think I'm a good leader. I don't really know if I could do it. I don't know if anyone's going to really back me. The list goes on and on and on. And I thought to myself, and I asked the question to her, who's been doing the role for the past 6 months? Well, I have. Okay. What's been the feedback from everyone else around you about how well you've been doing in the role? And that's when the light bulb hit for them. And they're like, oh, Kelvin, come on. I mean, they might be saying I'm doing good. And then there are all these things that kind of hit on the back end. And I tell you this story anecdotally because there are so many folks that I've worked with that are in that space of, I don't think I'm qualified. I don't think I can. And there are some sayings that maybe you have heard, some quotes maybe you've even heard of, if you think you can, or if you think you can't, you're right. So today I'm going to talk to you just about mindset. There are three things that I tend to kind of navigate for individuals in this space. I am a credentialed coach. I'm certified ICF. I have my PCC. So yes, I do believe in asking questions. However, on the overarching of leadership as coaching, there are these three things that I feel like are very, 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 very important. And they're not talked about enough. So the first one is going to be mindsets. The second one is going to be actions. The third one is going to be people. And if you come to any of my ATD talks, you know I talk about mindsets, actions, and people because it matters whether I'm building a corporate client, um, their own initiative or their own leadership program, or I'm deploying something that I've already made, or whether I'm doing one to one work with someone as a coach. Mindsets, actions, and people are always going to be the things that I'm going to come back to. Why? Because if you don't have the right mindset going into this, you're not going to be successful. Or you're going to struggle until you transition your mindset and then become successful. So I just want to start there, mindsets. The second one is actions. What are the things that you're going to do? What are the tools, implementations, the systems? What are the guiding posts of things that you will actually do in order to help you become a successful leader? And then thirdly, people. Whether the people is your manager, whether the people is the culture of the organization, like that's the final thing that kind of brings this all together. And external to the organization, it's the people that are inside of your circle, the people that are in your life, your board of directors, so to speak, that influence the way that you think. Because again, it's going to go back into your mindset. So who you're around, your environment is going to impact how you think. How you think is going to impact what you do. What you do is going to impact who you end up getting around. Who you get around is going to impact your mind, and so on and so on. The cycle goes. All right. So let me see if this thing works real quick. Bear with me for just a second. Let's see. Let's see. And I can't even see who's here, if anyone is here. So I apologize. I'm kind of doing this for the first time. So, oh, here it is. All right. So, again, talk about mindset. And then these are going to lead into your actions and people. All right. And all together, what this is going to be is a cycle. These things all impact each other. And together, for those of you that are good with acronyms, this is your map for leadership. Okay. So if you are looking for a map and you want to get to a destination, this is kind of the starting point. The mindset that you have going in, you are already an excellent individual contributor, no doubt. No doubt in my mind. I've been you. I was the guy, I was working at Kaiser Permanente for almost a decade, but prior to me getting to that decade mark, I was a hypo, which is a high performer. You'll see it on your reviews and your performance value. That means basically that the organization is thinking about investing in you or thinking about using you to your maximum capabilities. Something in that realm. And not every organization does this. If you don't know about it, now you know. And they track you a little differently. How they do your performance reviews, how they do your performance evaluation, where they think you're going to go within the organization is started to be tracked different in high functioning orgs that have this kind of work. Again, not everyone's doing this, not everyone's flagging it, not everyone's tagging it. It's not being done in the same fashion everywhere. All right. Anyway, so I was a high performer out the block. My 6 month review, they wanted to promote me from part time to full time. At first, I was like, nah, I don't really know. I did end up taking the role. After they got me inside the full time position, about 6 months later, maybe 8 or 9 months, like 6 to 9 months, there was another position that opened up within the department. It was for a supervisor role. Technically, it was a manager role, but we'll get into why they gave me the supervisor role in another story. And I was like, no, I am not doing it. Like, I'm really good at my job. I've just gotten the understanding of how to do this. I'm a really good performer. I don't want to lead other people. I don't want more money, more problems. I want to deal with it. Unfortunately, that's how a lot of us look at leadership. We look at it as though, like, oh my God, what can go wrong? Instead of shifting our mindset to, like, oh, what could go right? How could this benefit not only me, but the team? How can I grow in this environment? And one of the biggest things that people don't transition, even when they do get inside the role, is this thing right here. So there are the performers versus the developer. And this is crucial. So this was me. This is most of you. And this is how we're taught and trained to be performers. So in school, when we sat at our desk, we were taught to raise our hands and have the answer. And then we were taught that A plus is good, F is bad. And then we got to college and it was make a choice. But don't be too creative. Don't go into arts, don't go into these things, don't go into music. You're not gonna make no money. We've been conditioned from day one to have the answer, to have the solution, to have the thought, to do the right thing, to get the right degree. And then we get into the workforce and we're expected to do the same exact thing, to be the person. You are to perform your job to the utmost so that they don't fire you. And technically, that's just like when you got an F back in elementary, middle school, and high school and college. You try not to get an F in your current role. That's why we give out performance evaluations mid cycle and end of year because we're grading you. Your company is giving you a grade. And for most of you, if you know this, no one likes satisfactory because we think it's a C or we think it's failing. It's really not. But that's a whole nother conversation for a whole different day. So let me pull this back up real quick. Stop sharing this. All right. And so when we're taught to raise our hand, have the right answer, do the right thing, we are being very good at performing. We are excellent executors. But when you're transitioning into leadership, we get caught up in this thought of like, well, if I do it, but I got to do it right. And what if it goes wrong? And many of us never stop to think, well, how many good managers and leaders have I had compared to bad managers and leaders? Most of us have had some pretty, my family, we like to use the word trash. We've had some pretty trash leaders. I'll let that sink in. I guarantee you, you can think of at least two, if not three, trash leaders. So you're like, oh my God, even if they weren't your boss, they were someone in the organization that you were like, I would never work for so and so. And you would never say that out loud to a person. Like that's maybe rude, but in your mind, you're taking notes. And so while we're transitioning, we're thinking, like, man, okay, I don't really want to raise my hand to be a leader because what if I'm not a good one? And we start there. So again, we have to change our mindset from that performance perspective of like, I have to be the best, I have to be excellent, I have to know everything. You don't. You do not have to know everything there is to know about leadership because no one you worked for knows everything there is to know about leadership. I don't want to get political or technical, but you can look at the planet and you can see how many people are in leadership roles who maybe you wouldn't trust with your children or your grandkids or your dog or your goldfish. I'm just saying. And yet, and still, we give these titles, roles, responsibilities to individuals who are sometimes not fully prepared for what's to come. So, my question to you, and those of you that are like, hell, like, how do I get started? What do I do? Like, ah. First, you have to make up your mind that you can do it. And you have to just take a deep breath on the anxiety that you're getting right now, thinking like, oh my God, what can go wrong? Oh my God. And really start to think like, okay, I don't really fully know everything about it. However, I do have some examples of things that I don't want to do. I don't want to be overbearing on my team. I don't want to become a micromanager. I don't want to be overly aggressive. I don't want to leave people out there just to figure it out on their own. I don't want the people to feel misrepresented, unheard. I don't want anyone to feel alone. If you can answer those things of what you don't want as your leadership, we can figure out the inverse of those things, right? I want to be a person that supports my team. I want to be a person that doesn't make my team feel like I'm suffocating them all the time, but they have liberty to try and to grow. I want to be the kind of leader that listens. I want to be the kind of leader that even if I make the wrong decision, I know how to recover. Like that's good leadership. And the ultimate thing, right? When I asked you if you could think of the leaders that were, trash, T word, I want you to think about maybe one, two leaders that were so good at what they did, they inspired you to be like, man, I don't know if I could do that. I want you to think of those people. And I would challenge you, if you know where they are, if you're in contact with them, I would challenge you to go have a conversation with them and be like, hey, how did you get started? Did you have all the answers? I guarantee you they're going to tell you no. Good leaders have a sense of humility. I think that I'm decent. I got a lot of blind spots. I got a lot of areas that I can grow in. I think I'm decent. And there's a lot of personal stuff I'm working through that sometimes doesn't want me to lead. I just don't want to do it some days. However, good leaders, the ones that have inspired you in the past, they fulfilled their role. Why? Because they got out there, they tried the thing, and they inspired you to want to lead, even if you don't know how to do it yet. So I think that's the time for today. I think I've been on here for about 15 minutes or so. Um, Lots of information. Hopefully, some of it's helpful. But if you walk away with nothing else, think about 1 to 5 things that you know that you didn't like. You know that you didn't like that happened to you throughout your leadership journey. I'm not talking about the people that did you wrong. Like that's get that out of your head for a second. I want you to think of what was the impact. What were the 5 things that you're like, oh my God, I never want to do that as a leader? I want you to write them down. I mean, you'll probably come up with more. That's fine. Don't let this become like a black hole of trauma. Like, that is not what I'm trying to induce from you. I want you just to have some key characteristics of things that took place that you were like, I wouldn't do that. My team didn't like that. I saw the impact on others. 5 things minimum. Then I want you to do second piece of homework. After that, I want you to then go and say, okay, what are the opposites of these things that I saw? If I saw micromanagement, what's the opposite of that? If I saw someone that was demeaning, what's the opposite of that? What are some things that would have brought a better balance to those 5? Easy, right? And the last thing, the very last thing I want you to do is if you're in contact with any of the leaders that come to mind of like, man, they were really good at what they do. They might be your current manager right now. They might be. I would ask you, I challenge you to go and talk to them and have a conversation about why they got into leadership and were they fully prepared before they took the leap. If you can do those 3 things, I guarantee it'll change your perspective and your mindset on what it's really going to take for you to become a leader within either your current organization, another organization, an initiative, a volunteer group, whatever. I guarantee you that it'll inspire you to want to take just one step towards that goal. All right. Like I said, I'll be back here again on Fridays. Wednesdays, I'll be talking more about the corporate side of things, some of the things that we have to kind of be mindful of, watchful of in corporate spaces and organizations. My name is Kelvin Jenkins. I'm CEO and founder of AQ Business Collective. If you stayed for these past like 15 minutes, thank you. I think it says 20, so maybe 20 minutes. Thank you. I will be talking about this whole failing ain't failure another day. For now, appreciate you. Have a good weekend. Talk to you soon.